Just a few days ago now, Thinkorswim rolled out 24-hour trading on hundreds of new stocks and ETFs. That's going to include all the companies in the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, and hundreds of other ETFs. So now you're going to be able to trade all of these new stock and ETFs 24 hours a day, 5 days a week if you wanted to. Now those 5 days are going to start at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday and end at 8 p.m. Eastern on Friday. And if you're wondering if a specific stock that you're looking at is on that list and can actually be traded overnight, what you're going to look for is a small 24 icon to the right of the symbol, either on the monitor page or over here on your watch list. So right here we can see American Airlines, Apple, AMD, and pretty much all of the other stocks on this watch list can be traded 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. Now if you wanted the full list, you could also head up here to the watch list and come up here to the public % through E section, and then go ahead and select on 24-hour trading over here on the right. So now again, looking down here below in that watch list, we can see hundreds of new companies in this list, all of which trade, remember, from Sunday at 8 to Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. However, I will say in order to do that, you are going to need to make a couple of small changes to your order ticket. So for example, if we wanted to trade, let's just say Adobe, and right now it's, let's say 2 o'clock in the morning, what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on it and then open up my charts page here so we can see what the underlying stock is doing right now. And all I want to do is build out a standard buy ticket. So I'm going to come up here to the price, $4.58. And then down below, I'm going to come down here and just select buy. So now down here at the bottom of the screen, we can see our standard order ticket, and we're going to fill it out exactly like normal. So in this case, I'm buying 100 shares of Adobe. I'm using a limit order, good for the day. And that's going to be the first thing to keep in mind, is that you have to use a limit order if you want the order good for this overnight session. So we're going to leave it as a limit, and we'll go ahead and specify a price here. I'm going to say if it goes down to $450 a share, I'd like to buy that stock. And now the second thing we have to do is come over here to the right and adjust the time in force. And here in a second, I'll go through each of these, but the new one that just got added was EXTO and GTC EXTO. So now if we wanted this order good for today, today's overnight session, that's going to be 8 p.m. to 8 p.m. What we would do is come up here and select EXTO. And remember that new day begins at 8 p.m. Now, if we wanted the order good until canceled, but we wanted it good for the overnight session as well, we could come down here below and select GTC EXTO. And just keep in mind that includes all the different sessions all in one. So that's going to be the pre-market, regular market, post-market, and the new overnight session. So it's going to combine all of them and make it a seamless order. Now, just as a reminder, for those of you who don't remember what these other ones mean, a day order is only going to be active during the regular market session from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern. So if you place this order right now, if it hasn't filled by 4 p.m., it's just going to cancel itself. The one right below it, GTC, that just stands for good until canceled. So this order is also only going to work from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. However, it's going to go out every single day until it fills. And technically it's not every single day, it only is active for 6 months and then you'd have to recreate it, but it's essentially good until canceled. Now right below that we have the EXT order, which is a day order, but it also includes the pre and post market as well. So if we use EXT, this order is going to be active from 7 a.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern, and that's going to be all 3 sessions, pre-market, regular market, post-market. Right below that, we basically got the exact same thing, GTC EXT. This order is also active only from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., but it's good every single day until it fills, or at least for 6 months. And we already went over EXTO and GTC EXTO. Remember, that's just basically all day. So that's going to be 8 p.m. to 8 p.m., pre-market, regular market, post-market, and the new overnight session. And then if you only want the order good for the pre-market, so that'd be 7 a.m. to 9:25 a.m., you could use an AM order. Or if you only wanted it good for the post-market, PM, that'll be from 4:05 to 8 p.m. So in this case, if we wanted this order good until canceled, but we wanted it to include every single possible session, we're going to hit GTC EXTO. And that's it. That's all we have to do to place this order for the overnight session. The only thing you have to really keep in mind is that it has to be a limit order, and you have to adjust the time in force here to either EXTO or GTC EXTO. Now, there are some other things to keep in mind if you do decide to trade in this new trading window. And the first one is just that the liquidity at these hours is probably going to be pretty terrible for most of these stocks. And that's just because there's going to be very few buyers and sellers at this time, so the spread between the bid and the ask is probably going to be pretty terrible. And remember, that's just the difference between the price you can buy it for right now and the price you can sell it for right now. Meaning if you do decide to buy it at that time, you might have to pay a pretty significant premium to buy it, and then when you turn around to sell it, you might have to sell it at a deep discount. So if we just use Adobe in this example, I know it's trading for $459 right now, but let's just pretend it's 2 o'clock in the morning right now and you wanted to buy some stock. Now this is completely hypothetical. I have no idea how wide the spread might be on Adobe at 2 o'clock in the morning, but let's just pretend you were looking at the price and it closed the previous day at $459, and at the moment you look at the current bid ask and it's $455 by $465. So that means if you wanted to buy it right now, you'd have to buy it for $465 a share. And then if you wanted to turn around and sell it right away, you'd have to sell it for $455. Again, that's $10 below the price you just paid for it. So theoretically, if you had to buy and sell it right away, that's an immediate loss of $10 a share. So just be aware of that. It doesn't mean you shouldn't trade or can't trade during these hours. You just need to remember that liquidity can be quite terrible, and you gotta factor that into the trade. Now, if there is a big event or a big news announcement for that stock, there's probably going to be a lot of buyers and sellers coming in at that time along with you, so the liquidity would probably get a whole lot better. But otherwise, for a lot of these new stocks that were just added, I wouldn't expect tight bid-ask spreads during these overnight sessions. Now, the second point, if you're a day trader and have less than $25,000 in the account, for day trading purposes, the new day begins at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you had just bought a stock at 5 p.m. and then sold it at, let's say, 9 p.m. Eastern Time just a few hours later, that would not be considered a day trade. But that's really it. That's how you can place trades that are active 24 hours a day, 5 days a week within Thinkorswim. If you're interested in checking out another tutorial, you might find this next video helpful as well, but otherwise, I'll see you the next one.